You can get closer, I think, like over here, like, yeah. Yeah. But it's always better to be closer. I'm still trying to set the camera so that you guys can see more of the process here. A little blurry, but I'll. See there, that right there. I think you can. That looks much better there. You can see more of it. So there, I've got my margins. You can see the top. I don't think the bottom shows up too much, but it's a better view than I had before. So, to start off, you want to do that one line that would represent the whole cast here. And this is a pretty simple cast here. Just it's the portrait. So one line like that to get started. And then I don't want to focus too much on the proportions yet. I do want to create an envelope for the cast. So the top here, the top of the hair, top of the head, and this the cast, of course, it's sitting on a base that's like a cube, and that's what I'm doing right now. I want to say it does this, and then it kind of, and see these lines are, long sweeping lines. And remember, the envelope has to be between 5 and 6 lines. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm trying to simplify this very intricate cast into as few lines as possible. Now, like, I've got a couple students here. Also, this one over here is a pretty good one. Yeah, you can get really close. Or I don't know what kind of view you have of this one also.
I give you kind of like a side profile.
Okay, well, maybe I think that one's very nice as well, that other cast. So I'm trying to define here the envelope, right? And I'll be changing it. And these lines are being drawn by mostly using just my shoulder and my whole arm. Very long sweeping lines, very general lines. Again, big shape. And then on this, I'm gonna, for a little bit, I'm gonna continue just focusing on the flat shape. I'm gonna forget that it's a portrait and forget all the details and just try and simplify this to its flat cutout shape. I'm gonna cut out here to start to give more form to the head. And then I can, like, from the cheekbone down to the jaw, it does this. And then the neck. And remember to take plenty of photos. And then this one here. My phone is charging, so I'm not I won't be able to take that many photos. But see, like that would be my second photo there. And then I can cut into this a little bit more. You know, again, it's trying to ignore all the details, just focusing on a simplified flat shape. And I keep cutting into it here. See there, right away, this looks too short, but I'll come back to it. I'll leave the corrections. You know, first you got to make some decisions, even if they're gonna have to be, you know, corrected later on. You always need you need to start. I think this was too wide. Like, do this. This is where the neck meets that base, that cube. So there is, you know, starting to take shape, but it's some things are way off. Some of those lines are way off. So I'm gonna erase I'm gonna erase lightly here. And I'll start making some adjustments. I think maybe my this line at the bottom, probably off the camera here, I made it too exaggerated. So I'm gonna adjust this line. Let's move this down a little bit. Trying to get that line correct. Then this is that cube that is the base for the portrait. And it'll be a challenge. This gets pretty difficult. So I mean, the reason I changed my view from opposed to from the one that you guys are doing is so I can check if you're understanding what we've been doing here. See now I started way over here, so I gotta move. I have to make the corrections that I have to make. See, I was way off. See, I had to really take a whole bunch of this. And I'll continue with the adjustments here. And you know, this is what I want to see in your drawings. The as you take progress shots, that you're constantly erasing and making the necessary corrections. See, now it's looking a little too narrow. And you know, stick with this method. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel overwhelmed that you have to get it get it precise from the start using some method that you have used in the past. Don't start making a grid on this. Stick with this, the envelope and blocking in, work yourself through it until it looks right. See, it's getting smaller and smaller there. But I'm still not happy with this. And at a certain point, I'm gonna have to go in here and kind of figure out the axis and the eye line. But that can wait a little bit longer.
Sir, I have a question.
I erase again. But I keep some of the lines that I think are working for me.
Sir, I think somebody asked that they had a question.
And like right now, like what I do is like I look over there at the cast, and then I look at my drawing and look back and forth, like, pretty quickly, so I can see the adjustments I have to make. Look at the cast, look at my outline, at the faint outline that I have, trying to determine what's going on. So I think I need, at this point, I think I do need to have this line here for the eyes. And then, this is the line that simplified or symbolized the whole cast. But I need this one that goes, kind of shows me the front of the face. And that should help me also, like, and see the chin. So, I want to work on this drawing, like, today, and also probably Monday and Tuesday. But over the weekend, I'm going to assign you, because it's too many days to go without drawing. I'm going to assign you some other drawings to do. See, here I had to pick up the cheekbone there. This is a little bit of the neck. And see, the cube at the base here is going to get smaller. And so as I'm working on this, it's actually becoming the same size as the cast, as it looks according to the distance that I'm away from it. I have to correct this line, move it in more. So I like that. I think it looks, it's a good starting point. See this here, actually, I gotta cut into this. And also I think now at this point I keep squinting and I want to separate the shadow. Because I can give me another point of reference to keep working on this, to make it more accurate. Separate the light and shadow. And I just have a faint, this line, the eye line to help me. And then the shadow shape gets very complicated in the hair, but I'm gonna just do this. It kind of weaves into the bigger forms that make up the hair. So there. Let me get my phone so I can take some, should have some battery already. You guys have any questions? I see there's a lot of, there's like 6 comments there on the chat. Feel free to ask me any questions. And if you just joined, remember, check on Blackboard. The images that we're using, they'll be there. I'm gonna take a photo of this stage. So I'm gonna erase. I know that it still needs a lot of corrections. So I don't want to depend too much on any of these lines.
Sir, can you hear us? Nope, guess not.
Don't get too attached to any of these lines yet.
I thought he was checking the chat.
I thought so too, but I guess you didn't read them.
Sir.
Oh well.
So how's everybody?
Surviving.
some reason I like to start here with on the eye line. I find that's a good reference. A good reference point. I'm gonna work my way all around the contour. And remember emphasizing the structure, all the lines I'm making, they're all straight. They're all straight line segments at different angles. So, like today, probably won't get to shade. I'm just working on pretty much the outline. Maybe this length here is too much. I'm gonna cut this much off here. Someone's coming in. And then I'm gonna go here. And as I look over there at the cast, let me move the camera. It's has a light very strong on there, so like you only see. Well, look, what is good about the quality of the camera right now and the light is that you guys can see very clearly the shadow shape. That's why I mean, like when I squint, that happens. You keep squinting until it separates, like that what the camera is capturing right now. But also what I'm doing is I'm looking, I imagine I'm projecting in my mind, in my mind's eye, like a grid, like I don't know if you can see this, like what I'm doing here with the pencil. I want to see where the cheekbone lines up to the base, the nose, this plane here, this plane. Can you see this? There's this plane of the cube where that lines up with the ear. All these things I imagine. I mean, I've made many drawings, and so like as I do this, I try and keep the pencil as straight horizontally and see how things line up. Like the chin, where does the chin line up? It might not line up with what you're seeing on the camera, but in my eyes are a little bit higher than the camera, so it doesn't quite line up with what you're seeing. But I keep doing this, kind of scanning over it. Go back here. See, it made kind of, I've got this faint outline that I'm using to guide myself. And I think it was too wide, so I'm cutting into it. I don't know if you can see this faint line, but I'm gonna move it a little bit more inside here. And maybe this, I can. The drawing here, it got a little small. I would have liked it bigger, but you know, for the sake of fitting it into the camera here for you guys to see, I had to make it smaller. I feel more comfortable when I make things life size or slightly bigger than life size. So at this point, like I think I've done as much as I can with the external contour. That's what I have here. And so I think I can start to jump into the features. And also, looking at the planes, I'm gonna jump in here, like try and deal with it. Like I said, the features, the planes, dealing also like in like that drawing that we did, the construction line drawing, something along those lines. So I want to set up, okay, let's say this is where the hairline is. The bottom of the nose. Well, these are negotiable. I don't know, because I might have to raise up the eyeline a little bit, the mouth. I don't know about this here. See, there's like just having done this, I'm like, I don't even have enough space for the neck. See, those lines without having to do any details like the lips, the curve of the lips here, or just with those points. And I'm not as invested in it yet with a simple outline. It'll be easier to change and make any corrections that I have to. See, I don't know if this is correct here. I keep looking here. I'm not too comfortable with that. But I have, because when I started the drawing, right, I set the margins and I gave myself like maybe like 2 inches from the bottom here, so that I can maneuver if I need to make this bigger, which I think I'm probably gonna have to. I can make it bigger if I need. See, just those points, the hairline, eye line, the bottom of the nose line here. I'm trying to, maybe I gave it too much space there. The lips, maybe pick those up a little bit. This is where the neck meets the base. So yeah, I don't think there's any way around it. I have to lower this, lower the base a little bit here. So this method is so that you guys can make more accurate drawings, and that's not the only thing that's gonna make a great drawing, you know. It's not all about accuracy. But like when we were, when me and Professor Lyles were writing the descriptions for the drawing courses, I think it's important that we, in this like drawing 1, drawing 2, we emphasize accuracy. In advanced drawing, you can do abstract drawing. You can do whatever you want. And accuracy becomes something that we can check for and grade based the grading on. It's just one thing that helps in training the eye. So I'm gonna go back here to the chin because there's a very clear shadow shape here. I'm gonna describe the shadow shape more accurately. That will also help me determine some of the proportions. See, this was my initial decision for the shadow shape on the cheek. And then I went here, but I think somewhere in between. And I'm keep squinting here, and before I do I've got the eye line, but also if I focus on the shadow shape here on the plane of the nose, that might be very helpful as well here. And I can indicate a little bit here of the brow. This is also the hairline. And I even though I've done, this, try, trying to keep things very minimal, I need more so that I can decide what to do here. So I can and I keep thinking of, how can I continue to work on this and not get too specific. So before I do the eyelids, I think, well, what else do I know that can help me describe the portrait without doing so much detail? Like a big shape, big overall shape, then shadow shape. And as I get closer in, I'm like, okay, what else? Like, well, the planes of the face, this plane of the eye sockets. Uh, And so I know if I do this line here where the eyes are gonna be, that'll help me locate the mouth. See this here, that's the shadow shape, part of the shadow shape of the nose, and this is taking the nose now into consideration here. The whole shape of the nose. So this is the line for the lips. Make another line for the top lip, bottom lip. Then this area here, this is the chin. I don't know about this distance here. And this is a Greek statue. I mean, it's a cast, and I mean, they had certain way of dealing with the anatomy, and like it's very graceful. The neck, so because it's graceful, it implies that it's very long, but it's also very thick because it's a male. But it's just interesting how the Greeks would combine these elements, gracefulness and masculinity also. And sometimes you have a Greek statue of Venus, and it also looks kind of masculine. They would combine both attributes in a very successful way to create a beautiful piece. Like looking at this guy, like his lips are very voluptuous, very feminine, but then his brow is very prominent. You know, very like this part is looks very masculine, but this part looks very feminine. I think that there the neck looks fine. So I gotta move this plane of the base. Move it down a little bit here. Now this here, this is to indicate the brow. So this is already like over 40 minutes of drawing and there's hardly anything on there. So this is bottom of the nose line here, trying to figure it out. The eye line, and then here it's gonna go slightly. Looks like he's got glasses there, so that I can put the ear on this. And see, he has got like tiny, overall very tiny ears. So this, you know, the original statue, this is a depicting one of the gods. This is Hermas, I think, or Hermes. Like, it's hard to know how to pronounce it, but I believe he raised the god of wine, Bacchus. I think Bacchus is the Roman equivalent of Dionysius, something like that. But yeah, these are like over 2,000 years old. These are like, I mean, these are beautiful pieces made so long ago. And see this, and then going back, kind of help me emphasize, you know, I showed you guys yesterday, you know, kind of, even though I've kept it flat, now it's helping me emphasize the cube or box-like structure of the face. Let me flip it over. This. I take another picture. See, now I'm gonna go into the shadow shape and just indicate the jaw. So I can See how that's gonna be. And then this, there's like a curl. And I wanna take some measurements, see if I'm correct here with the eye line. So that measurement, and see this, he has a lot of volume in his hair, but see, this is where his skull would be, right? This is, I think it looks overall, it looks good because this is like the mass of curls he has of hair. So that, I think the eye line is pretty good right there. Now this might be a little too high. And see, all this, like I'm plotting points. I mean, there's no detail really, like there's no refined line work. It's just looking for lines and points where I can determine if the measurements are correct. So I think at this point, what would also help me if I think I can draw the eyes a little bit more in detail. And I'm just focusing on the top eyelid here. And see the approach I did here and what I'm doing to the nose, even though I'm focusing on smaller features, it's still the same, kind of like the same idea of the whole envelope, but an envelope for the nose, an envelope for each eye, and then, blocking it in. There's a shadow shape here that I think needs to be bigger. Now the mouth. See, I'm doing that envelope for the mouth, for the lips. I don't know if the nose seems too long here. And my eyes keep moving all over like something, something catches my attention that needs to be addressed, that'll help me. I try and do that as well. So I'm gonna venture in here into the hair. And I keep squinting to separate all those big forms here. Make it a little bit more descriptive of what's happening. So there's some good things about the drawing at this stage that I like, but I also I gotta make some corrections. So I'm gonna erase again. Well, let me take another picture. And I'm gonna erase lightly. So we'll finish this next week, right? This drawing, and then we'll move on to the whole figure. We'll focus on parts of the figure, then the whole figure. And I think like on Wednesday, we already have the model scheduled to come in. So we might use,
For next week.
I think so, yeah. I have to check the schedule of when he's coming in, but he's already on the schedule. I believe it's for next week. But before we work with him, I do want to make sure that we do, like, I have a cast that is it's not life size, but it's a whole figure, and I want to work on that one so that to help you then make the transition to the whole, living figure.
So we're doing on the weekends, the figure, the whole figure, but cast.
No, this weekend. No, we're gonna do this.
Oh, so not
Another. I'll assign you
another head.
another head. Yeah. And then Monday and Tuesday we'll continue this, and then Wednesday we might move on to parts of the figure. And even if the model's here,
But we
Yeah, I've got feet. I got the feet and an arm and a leg and half like a torso. Yeah. So slowly,
It's not those ones out there, is it?
yeah.
Ones with the muscle.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know if we'll get to do all of them, but yeah, I mean, they're. I'm gonna move the camera a little closer because it might seem like my beard hanging over the camera. It's like right in my face. And I need to get a little bit closer to the drawing. I'm just gonna zoom in probably just on the head here.
In progress.
And see, after about an hour of drawing, that's all I have. A very faint outline. And I've said this before, but yeah, I am exaggerating for the sake of your understanding, exaggerating the erasing and correcting. So we have like 20 minutes. So I'm gonna try and have at the end of the 20 minutes a more finished drawing than what I've got right now. Something more substantial here. See, I have so many lines there, and I'm in a way this is just kind of like connecting the dots. And I don't want any, even at this point, I don't want any line that is too defined. And see, I had the simplified envelope for the lips. Now I can try and do a little bit more of the details here. And see, I like how after all this work of measuring, I think now it's kind of coming together here. So it pays off to erase and correct. I mean, there might still be some adjustments I've got to make, but take another picture. And see, I observe now that this shadow shape has to be moved a little bit further back. I'm gonna try and map out this shadow shape. And see the way that I'm drawing, try to think that I'm a surgeon, cutting away little pieces. Little pieces of form. It's just indicating those curls here. And see all those bumps and forms that make up the hair, and I'm breaking them down into smaller. I had the big envelope and general blocking lines here, but now I'm cutting into them. See, look at, this is the back of the neck, part of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Then this, of course, this is the shadow shape and the back of the jaw here. And so I'm gonna go in here. There's a highlight there on and then some very faint lines here to emphasize some of the planes, some of the smaller planes. With the camera here. And see, I can I've got space here where I can still make the neck a little longer. See how many times I've had to move the box here, this cube. And I'm sure it's not the last time I have to adjust it. You know what? One thing, just to point out here, this is what was it, a Greek statue, and was, different classes, philosophy classes, literature. We talk about the Greeks. Sometimes we forget, because we think that they were just kind of they just existed out of nowhere in the Mediterranean. They just like sprung out of nowhere when like they developed all these philosophical ideas and ideas about democracy, and out of nowhere, like but they took a lot of ideas from all over, right across them. You had the Egyptians that developed for hundreds or thousands of years before them, and then you had the Mesopotamians. They took from everybody. If you look at late Egyptian sculptures, they look like early Greek sculptures. So they didn't just come up with everything out of nowhere. They stole from everybody. Some of their gods, some of their ideas, everything is from being so close to those other great cultures. So, I mean, this still needs a little bit more adjusting, but I developed the drawing pretty much from scratch here, erasing and correcting. And see this, at this point, I just, after making all those corrections, I was just kind of connecting the dots, and like I said, it looks pretty good, and it still needs more definition. And we still have like 3 minutes. But look, this drawing that we started today, you just want to work it up to the shadow shapes, and leave it with the shadow shapes, and we'll continue shading on Monday. I'm going to assign you another drawing to work on over the weekend. I'm gonna fill in the shadow shape very lightly, but you see how much this will kind of help us see the drawing here. You know, also, I hope you enjoyed the class. I enjoyed this very much. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Okay, guys, so that's the class for today. If you have any questions, want me to look at anything, I'd be happy to. If not,
Sir, can you hear
are
us?
free to go.
Nah, he can't.
Samantha. Samantha, you have a question?
Hello?
Stuff that